It's Laskin Corla, and good afternoon, Minister, and thank you for your opening statement yesterday. I'm delighted to be in the Chamber today to contribute to this important debate on the Garda compensation bill. It's a bill I'm very happy with. I welcome it. I recognise it's probably long overdue, and I'm happy to support its passage through the Oireachtas. I do so for the following reasons. First of all, I've no problem in saying that I'm a big fan of Garda Síochana, absolutely. I recognise how difficult and dangerous the work is. So, for instance, when a scuffle breaks out, most normal people move away from the scene of the incident, whereas we expect our Gardaí to move forward to intervene and normalise the situation. Also then, most normal people don't hang around with dangerous drug dealers or organised criminals. But once again, we expect our guards to move forward, to intervene and confront and actively seek out these people. So we need to recognise it is a dangerous job, and if we're tasking people to do a job, we need to resource them as well. I mean, the guards need to be aware, and their families need to be aware, that we are certainly in their corner when it comes to tackling crime and safeguarding the public. I think it is appropriate that we're actually discussing it this year because the Gardaí centenary celebrations are taking place. And Garda Síochana has watched over this country for 100 years, and it's important that we have the appropriate resources and structures in place to look after them, because all you have to do is look at the roll of honour of the amount of Gardaí who've been killed in the line of duty to recognise how difficult and how dangerous their work is. I also support this bill for technical reasons. So first of all, it does streamline, it does simplify, and it does speed up the compensation process for guards, which is really, really important. And crucially, from my perspective, the financial compensation will most likely now go almost exclusively to the victim. It won't be lost in layers of bureaucracy or legal eagles down the tracks. It'll go where it's intended, whereas towards the victim or to the victim's family. And I think that's a very important point to get across. Secondly, I'm a big fan of the PIAB, the Personal Injuries Assessment Board. Again, I recognise it's an imperfect organisation, but again, it does simplify the process, and it does take the adversarial component out of a court case. And as Deputy Murphy quite rightly pointed out earlier on, it frees up courts' time for what they should be doing, basically, rather than dealing with personal injury claims that are caused by malicious intent. So look, in summary, everybody wins here. I think the taxpayer wins, the Gardaí and their family wins, but also the state wins because it simplifies the process immeasurably. And also I think there's a good sense of balance in the bill. There are penalties in the bill codified for anybody and the very small minority of people who would seek to embellish their injuries or to put in fraudulent claims, that there are penalties included. I think it's important from a deterrent point of view. I just have two questions, Minister, and I'd be grateful if you could kindly address them perhaps in your closing remarks. I recognise the importance of a Garda compensation pathway that's here, but I also understand that there's a separate scheme for prison officers. So for the Irish Prison Service, they have a separate prison officers tribunal also. And what we're hearing in the constituency office anecdotally is that I guess the awards for compensation for a prison officer are generally much less than for a member of Garda Síochana. And I'd be grateful if the Minister could perhaps look into that. Because whether you get a broken nose or a stab wound, it doesn't matter what shade of blue you're wearing. If you're at a prison officer or Garda Síochana, the same amount of compensation should be relevant there. And if the Minister could perhaps mention as well, does she intend to upgrade the Irish Prison Service compensation pathway as well as the Garda Síochana one? That'll be gratefully received by the prison officers in the country at the moment. And then thirdly, and perhaps you might wish to liaise with your Cabinet colleague, Minister Simon Coveney, that there are members of the Defence Forces who don't have any scheme at all like this, and would it be something that the government might be interested in pursuing, or at least researching, to see would it be appropriate? Members of the Defence Forces are abroad, they're interacting with rebel agencies, rebel groups, armed criminals abroad and state agencies. Again, would it be something worth pursuing to take malicious injuries out of the court system and provide a much more streamlined pathway? So in summary, before I hand over to Deputy Shanahan, Minister, I welcome this bill. I'm happy to support it, and I look forward to its swift implementation. Thank you very much.